Hi, I'm Michael Engeling. I'm a data scientist with a background in finance and economics. When I was in college, I interned for a local startup called Silvercar, which is a rental car company. And so when it came time to picking a final project for Galvanize, I went to my old boss at Silvercar to see if they had any data I could use. And they were kind enough to give me a lot of their data. So what I ended up doing is creating a model that predicts when their reservations will be canceled. So a little background on Silvercar and motivation for this project. Silvercar aims to take the pain out of renting a car, so they don't charge customers for cancellations. They don't make users create a Silvercar profile or enter credit card info before making a reservation. And this is all great for the customer. It gives them a lot of flexibility, but as a consequence, roughly 41% of their reservations are canceled. So I set out to create a predictive model that would tell them when users are going to cancel their rides so that they can improve better manage their fleet and have less cars sitting by idly, and also improve short-term revenue forecasting, and potentially maybe even identify some characteristics of canceled rides that they can hone in on to prevent cancellations in the future. So I ended up with a model that was 80% accurate using a gradient boosting classifier. And in order to do that, I used all of these different technologies here, with XGBoost being the particular gradient boosting classifier I used because it's fast speed and it's good performance without much tuning going on. So as for the data that I had at my disposal, I had data from a number of different data sources, but it covered data on reservations, users, promotions, and the pickup and drop-off locations themselves. And so this is the reservations page for Silvercar, where the red boxes here show different variables for the reservations that I used in order to build my model. As for the results themselves, when I first built my initial model, after engineering features and using the existing ones I had, I ended up with a 95% accurate model. But this was so good that it made me reassess whether this was legitimate or not, because humans inherently make unpredictable decisions, so it seemed unlikely that I could get 95% pretty easily. And so I ended up stripping out a lot of the features from my model and really thought deeply about what could be used and what couldn't, because I needed to build something that they could use. The second someone made a reservation online, they could say whether the ride was going to be canceled or not. And so my final model ended up at 80% accuracy, and everything in it would be known at the second the user makes their reservation. Another challenge I encountered along the way was with the distance traveled. So I spent a lot of time in order to calculate how far the user was traveling from their residence to the pickup location. And this was particularly useful for me because I was not only able to use their credit card data to strip out the zip code for the user in order to figure out where they lived and where they were going and figure out how far they traveled, but I was also able to use whether they entered their credit card or not from that same database. And so that itself ended up having a lot of predictive power for my model. So future improvements, I'd like to work with Silvercar to incorporate the user data into the model, because currently I'm not able to use any of it because all of the data is as of today and not as of the booking date. And so I would like to see if it's possible to get data as of the booking date for individual users to improve the model, and also look into different existing data sources Silvercar has and potentially new data sources that they could create. So then, after doing all this analysis, I decided to make a web application that Silvercar could use as a dashboard and see for each location and different time periods how many cancellations they expect to occur. So here, I took a sample of 200 reservations from the year 2014 and created this dashboard where you can go in and you can look at the number of reservations for a location and the month, and you see all of the different characteristics of the reservation that end up informing the model and generating this probability over here. And so this would be a really nice tool for them to use because they could limit the number of cars that they have at each site, and so they wouldn't need to have cars at the ready if they know that certain users are definitely going to cancel their rides. I also created a little interactive page where you can turn different knobs as if the user is changing the reservation details, and you can see how it affects the probability that the ride will be canceled. And that's all I have. Please, if you have any questions, contact me. Here are my details, my email, LinkedIn, and GitHub account if you want to look at the source code. Thank you.